Hey, let's study about operator overloading. So what we mean by operator overloading, that means we are overloading the definition of an operator with some type. So if I define a class, say complex number, I am defining some type, and to define some operations which is in terms of an operator that already exists, like plus, minus, and so on. So if you define the meaning of those operator with your user defined type, that's called as an operator overloading. So we'll define an operator, we'll learn about overloading the plus operator for this complex number, so that how can we add two complex numbers to get the addition result of adding two complex numbers. So first I define a type, say complex number, with a class keyword and have member variables, real and imaginary, both integers, and then I have a parameterized constructor that take two parameters and have a responsibility to initialize the real and imaginary part of my type. And then I have a print function, print method, that would print the complex number, the real and imaginary part. So here comes my definition for parameterized constructor. I just initialize, here I am assigning the real and the imaginary respectively, and here I am printing the complex number, the real part and the imaginary part here. And so in my main I have two complex numbers, C1 and C2, and here I am printing the C1 complex number and the C2 complex number. So first let's run it, and then we'll do some operations on it further. So let me first compile this function. Okay, so it would be, yeah, here I void, yeah, so these are the complex number. The first one is 1 real and 2 imaginary, and second one is 3 and 4 imaginary. So now I want to define an operation. Say this is defined. If I do 1 plus 3, I think this operation is defined. Okay, you will get result 4. But what if I want C1 plus C2? Okay, and if I want to have a new complex number, C3, I want it that C3 should be a result of addition of C1 and C2. So now you see that this is not integers, nor float, or not a string. This is some type, some user defined type on which we want to overload this operator. So if you want to do this, then of course without defining an operator here for this type, we're gonna get an error here. So if I do it, if I just compile it, so I get a number, I get a lot this error because the operator is not defined basically here. So let's first define an operator. Let's define an operator plus. Let's declare the prototype in our class. So here we'll declare it that I have an operator plus, and that will take, say, our reference, const reference, because I do not mean to change this parameter, so I'm taking const reference, and here, and of course it would be returning me our complex number itself. Okay, so since now I'm defining this operator plus as a member function or a method of a complex number, so that's the reason that the first parameter would be the class itself, the object itself, on which I will be calling operator plus, and then the next one would be the other complex number, the other complex number object, and I would be adding it and returning the result complex number. So let's define this here. So complex number, that's the return type, and complex number operator plus and then const complex number other. Yeah. Okay, so now let's take a complex number temp and I initialize it with 0 and 0. I pass in 0 and 0, and let's take temp dot real part would be this real plus other real. So what I'm doing is that the object on which this operator plus is called, I'm adding the real part of the current object to the real part of an object that's been passed into this operator. Okay, and I am taking the summation of this into my new complex number, which is a temp object, and I am filling up the real part with that. And similarly I can do it with complex as well, or sorry, imaginary. Yeah, so this imaginary plus other dot imaginary, and then I can very well return the temp, which is the result complex number here. Okay, so since now I have declared and I have defined operator plus, now I can use this plus operator. With that, I have overloaded the definition of this plus operator with this user defined type complex number. And so now if you print it here, then let's say result of addition is, let's see, let's compile it again and see the result. Yeah, and let's see. So if you can see here, the first one is this, second one is this, and the result is 4 plus 6j. So what it is doing, the plus operator is called, the function is called upon this object, and the C2 is passed as an other object here, and the C1 real part and the C2 real part is being added up, and the result is assigned to the real member variable of a temp object, of a temp object, which is of complex number itself. And then after filling it up, I'm just returning that complex number, which is again get assigned to C3. I mean, it's get copy constructed by the temp object that's being returned by this operator plus of C1. And so you got the result of addition here, which is perfect 6 per CG. So you perfectly overload the plus operator for user defined type. Now we can overload an operator in two ways, one as a member function and one as a non-member function as well. That we're gonna see that in our next video. Thank you so much.